Welcome to Conversations with Masesi, where my guest and I talk about everything in life, family, love, community, and everything in between. As Women's Month unfolds, we take a moment to celebrate the extraordinary contributions of a remarkable woman in our community. Her story is a beacon of inspiration, lighting the path for change and empowerment. Joining me today is the remarkable woman in our community called Mavis Bristow. Hello, Mavis.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm so happy to have you today on Conversations and to celebrate all the work that you have done and you continue to do. But before we do that, let's talk about Mavis and her upbringing, your early life. And please touch on Cheaper by the Dozen.
Well, it was a movie that was out a long time ago. And the title just caught my interest because there was a dozen in our family. My dad had been married once before,
Okay.
and there were 7 children in his first family.
Mm-hmm.
But he lost his wife, and then he remarried, and there were 5 in his second family, and my twin sister and I were the 2 oldest in the second family.
So that's where that comes from. Your upbringing, obviously, you grew up in a house full of children. There was fun, there was laughter. Do you have a significant memory about that house full of children?
It was a little house for all of us, and the older ones weren't with us. There were 2 of the older ones that lived with us, and they were very instrumental in our family. There was Byron and Marge, and Marge was a little woman or a little girl,
Yeah.
and short, very short, but very energetic, and she hustled around and helped my mother with Merla and I, and the 3 younger ones, Karen, Vicky, and Kent.
Oh, wow. That's a house full of children. But obviously, you each had your own hobbies and things that you like doing. What were your hobbies growing up?
The things I liked,
Yeah.
sports and music.
Mm.
And sports was a big thing.
Yes.
I loved to play ball. That was my favorite. And so I would make sure that I did my jobs early in the morning so I was free to play ball
Yeah.
through the day
wow.
between at recess in school, at noon. I would rush back home and then rush back to school so I could play ball.
Did you have a favorite sibling that played ball with you?
I did.
Yeah.
There were a few of us. There was Betty Jean was my good friend, and she lived close to me, and so we would rush to school. And then there was Dean Paul, who was a good athlete, and so we liked to get on his team.
Oh, wow. And you played professional ball as well?
Well, I didn't really play professional, but I did. When I was going to university, I had a short stint with the Imperials in Saskatoon.
Oh.
But I just played for fun mostly.
Yeah. Other than playing ball, what other social things did you do?
Well, music and
Are you
choirs.
a good singer?
Well, I can sing. My twin sister's better,
Okay.
but I can sing.
Yeah. What do you play instruments?
We learned the piano. My mother played the piano, and she taught us piano, and then eventually we took from another lady in town. And we took the music exams and whatnot. We traveled to Yorkton and did that.
Yeah. You know, you wrote a book, all the way, a memoir, and in this book, I like how you talk about mom and dad and how different they are. Tell us a little bit about Dad, because he was a man with few words.
Well, my dad was strict, but he was kind, and we knew that we needed to respect him and respect Mom. He wanted us to respect Mom.
Yes.
That was very important, and he would say, "Don't do anything that would hurt your mother."
Oh.
And so it was very important to respect Mom and not talk back to either one of them.
But who was the disciplinarian then? Mom or Dad? Because I think Dad only talked little, but who disciplined the whole crew mostly?
Well, I don't know. Mom disciplined in a kind way.
Okay.
She was very, very kind, and but she expected us to do our jobs and do things in the house. We had our jobs that we had to do, and they expected that when we said we would do something, we finished it.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. That is so nice. And I like your outbringing. Obviously, for our viewers out there, please go out and buy the book all the way. It's a memoir. You'll read all about her upbringing and how things went in her household. For the sake of today's conversation, I want us to pivot from your childhood and talk about when you met the love of your life. What drew you to George?
Sports.
Oh,
Sports.
okay.
George liked to play ball. I liked to play ball. George played hockey, and I wasn't a good skater, but I could skate. So I did do some skating, but it was sports that
Okay.
drew us together.
And to this day, you still together? I
Pardon?
said to this day, you are still
Oh,
together.
oh,
For
for
our
sure.
viewers out there to know that what started on the skating rink or at the pitch, it's still going on today. That was good. How was your courtship? Because you talk about in the book how he was driving this car and you looked at him and you walked, and there was a lady that played a role in putting you guys together.
Well, my landlady definitely did.
Yeah.
When we first met, George tried to pick me up and give me a ride home.
And you had to get.
And I said, "I just live over here. Why would I take a ride?"
Yeah.
And so anyway, he eventually got me to go with him again, and he brought me to Saskatoon. We were living in Strongfield, which was about an hour away.
Yeah.
And he took me to Saskatoon, and we picked up my girlfriend, and we went to A&W, and he bought us a hamburger and a root beer. And later I got a letter from my girlfriend Cheryl, and she said, "You hang on to that guy. He's the first fellow that ever bought us a hamburger
Oh my goodness.
and a root beer."
Hamburger and a root beer. So it was tick, tick, George is in. You guys get married and your wedding was beautiful. Everybody was happy. And soon after the wedding, we welcomed Donald Kent Bristow. How was your pregnancy with him?
I really don't know.
Because I don't even think you knew you were pregnant, right?
Yes, I knew I was, and I was shy about it.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, my family never talked about things like that growing up, and so I was even shy about telling my parents. But when I did finally tell my mother, she said, "Oh, your dad thought you were."
Yeah. Oh, Daddy knew that my little girl is bringing me a grandchild soon. And you guys, but did you have any unexpected challenges because you're a first-time mother?
Not really. It was a good pregnancy. I remember going to the opening of the Gardner Dam, and I was very pregnant by that time, and it was a hot day, but Donald didn't come until later in September.
Oh, wow. And in somewhere in the book, you talk about how you had to make all these meals for the, all the men in the field.
Yes.
And you were pregnant.
Yes.
I can only imagine.
Well, you took the meals to the field, and you'd pack things up in the trunk of the car and take them to the field, and it was kind of a celebration to get out in the field and harvest. It was a busy time, but it was that was the tradition. You took them, and my mother-in-law, she wanted everything nice for the men. And
I know. I go through your book and I was like, man, mother-in-law had things locked down. How things need to be done, when they are done, and you haul them to the field. But there's the part that I like where it says, even if things fall, don't worry, they're used to eating dead anyway.
Yeah, my father-in-law, George's dad, would say, "Oh, we eat dust all the time in the field."
Oh, so that was a wonderful time you had with your in-laws and with your own family. And when I go through your book, I cannot not imagine the laughter and the fun that was in the house, how everybody did their chores, how everybody pitched in. And the most important thing was, for me, was seeing how mom and dad made sure that you're all together, loving each other, and don't do anything that will upset mom.
That was
So dad was a
important.
protector. Do not do anything that will upset mom. We're going to end this segment here today, but before we go, as we applaud and honor this remarkable woman during Women's Month, may her story inspire us all to recognize the power within each of us to shape a community that thrives on compassion, equality, and shared success. That's a wrap for this segment. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms to keep the conversation going. Thank you for joining us on Conversations. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you and yours. Shalom.